No hoops, only helmets today as week one of college football season kicks off. I'm Brody Jacobson, joined alongside by Lucas DeVries. How's your day going?
It's going great. What about you?
Going great. We have a big weekend coming up for college football. As Lucas was just saying, it might be the best weekend of week one of college football ever. And we're going to start off with Georgia Tech at Colorado.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously Colorado, they have like all this hype around them because Deion Sanders is their coach, which isn't surprising. But Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, like they're both gone now, so it's gonna be interesting to see how like they rebuild their lineup for this upcoming year. But I think they're gonna be a pretty solid squad just because they brought in who's the quarterback they brought in?
Kaidon Salter.
Oh yeah, Caden Salter from Liberty. He was actually a great quarterback these past couple of years at Liberty, making them like college football playoff contenders. And he's now at Colorado with Deion Sanders as the head coach, so maybe they could do some damage. But Georgia Tech, they have Haynes King back, the starting quarterback. He was great for them last year. He might be in the Heisman race this year. And I think that Georgia Tech, even though it's at Colorado, they're going to be a bit too much for them. They'll probably win like 31-21 or something like that.
Yeah, Lucas has been really hyping up this Georgia Tech team. And I feel like when Deion Sanders has been at Colorado, he really just hasn't had his team ready to go for week one. I mean, North Dakota State challenged them last year in week one, I remember.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about taking this Colorado team with Caden Salter, but I don't know what to make of this roster with a lot of guys leaving, with Shedeur Sanders leaving and Travis Hunter leaving. So for that reason, I'm going to roll with Georgia Tech as well. And then we'll move it over to the other game on Friday night. Auburn takes on Baylor in Waco.
So Auburn is supposed to be a lot better this year. Hugh Freeze keeps bringing in all these recruits. So like they're supposed to be a lot better. Obviously, it's Cam Coleman. They brought in Jackson Arnold. They should be a pretty good squad. But Baylor, on the other hand, they returned a lot of pieces from last year when they had a pretty decent end to the year. And Sawyer Robertson, I really believe in him. I think he's a great quarterback. So I think it's going to be really close. And I know Baylor's the home team this year. So it's going to be really tight, but I think I'm going to give the edge to Auburn just because they have a lot of talent on their roster. But I could see this going either way. It's probably going to be like pretty high scoring, 34-31, maybe type game. I just don't really know who's going to win, but I'll say Auburn just because I know Brody's a huge Auburn fan, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, these are two really good teams. Like Baylor, I don't think they can make the playoffs, but Auburn, people think they could make the playoffs this year, and I think they have that type of ceiling. Baylor's star running back, Bryson Pendergrass, he broke his leg like a few weeks ago, so unsure with the running back situation there. He was a 1,000-yard guy last year for them. Auburn, we don't have a great running back room either. We have Damari Alston now. Jarquez Hunter graduated. Tank Bixby, he graduated 2 years ago. Jackson Arnold, it's the big question, like what type of quarterback is Jackson Arnold going to be? I think he'll be good enough to win this game. And I look forward to watching my Auburn Tigers play, so we got to roll with the Tigers.
Okay, yeah, valid pick there.
Let's move it over to Saturday action now. Texas, Ohio State, number 1 versus number 3. I mean, does a game get any better than this at Big Noon?
This has got to be like one of the best week ones ever. Probably the best because, I mean, you have 3 top 10 matchups. I don't know if there's ever been a week in college football history that's had that, and it's in week 1 with Ohio State, Texas, Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame, Miami. 3 big-time matchups. And you also have a matchup in Florida State, Alabama, which are like 2 of the biggest names in college football. So it really can't get much better. But the biggest one that most people think the biggest one is Ohio State, Texas. And there's a great reason that it's probably the biggest one. Number 1 versus number 3. Rematch of the semifinals from last year. You got Arch Manning on Texas. You got Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs just coming off the national title at Ohio State. Texas, obviously, they're always good in the trenches with the O-line and D-line. I think this game's pretty much 50-50. I think it's going to come down to how Arch Manning and Julian Sayin play in their really first ever big matchup starting. And I just don't really know who's going to be the better quarterback that day. It's, again, 50-50 for me. I'll probably say Texas just because I think they're more talented all around, even though it's in Ohio State. But I'm just going to say Texas for now. I know Arch is inexperienced, but same with Ohio State's quarterback, so I'll give it to Texas.
Yeah, you'll take Texas. Arch Manning, still not sure what to make of him, but like when he came in at times last year, he looked like he could be a good quarterback. He's getting way too much hype, though. He should not be the Heisman favorite right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, realistically, is Texas, he's probably not even going to throw the ball that much. Quintravion Wisener's a great running back they have, and Jaden Blue, that's a great 1-2
He's
punch
back?
they have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wisener's only a sophomore, actually. Blue's like a junior or senior, though.
Oh, they're both back.
Yeah, they're
Bro,
both.
yeah,
They're
Texas.
Exactly, and they still have Wingo on the perimeter. They have another guy, too. I just think this game's going to be low scoring. Like, I don't think teams are going to reach the 30s in this one. But Ohio State, I mean, coming off the national championship, I feel like they're really focused on this game. So I'm going to take Ohio State, the home team, in this one.
I think it's going to be 21-17 Texas. That's my prediction.
I could see it the other way going,
like
Ohio State.
24-20 Texas or something.
Regardless of who wins, it should be a really good game, though.
Yeah.
Let's move it over to Alabama, Florida State now at 3:30, and this one is in Florida State.
Yeah, so earlier this summer, I looked at the schedule and I'm like, this might be a trap game for Alabama because Florida State's pretty good in the opening game, like most years. Like we saw them like in 2020, I think it was, pull off a big upset. Oh no, they were playing Notre Dame, a top 10 Notre Dame team, and with Mackenzie Milton as their quarterback, and that went to like double overtime. They didn't get it done, but then 2 years later, played a top 10 LSU team, and they won on a blocked extra point. Obviously, it didn't go to plan last year, but none of the games went to plan. So I think that Mike Norvell will actually have his team in a pretty good spot going into this game. I just don't think it's enough, even at home. Alabama, when I was like Ty Simpson, he's going to be a good quarterback. I trust him more than a lot of these other new quarterbacks. They just have so much talent around their roster in general. Alabama does. I think Kalen DeBoer, he's going to have Alabama better this year than last year. I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs. I think 10-2 or 11-1 for Alabama, and they're not going to drop one to a mid-tier ACC team in Florida State. They're just not. They'll probably win by like 20.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I could see Alabama winning the national championship this year.
Yeah,
I think Kalen DeBoer he brought in his guy Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator who he had at Washington when he was in D2. He's brought him everywhere. He brought him back from the Seahawks. I don't really trust Ty Simpson, but I do trust Keelan Russell if they need him, the freshman quarterback. And Florida State, they got Castellanos from Boston College. He's a great quarterback, but this is a tough Alabama team. They just have so much talent top to bottom.
Yeah.
Forget about Ryan Williams, too. Alabama's going to roll in this one.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Now moving over to the night game, probably the game Lucas is most excited to see, the Battle of the Tigers, LSU heading into Clemson, the fake Death Valley. Who do you like?
The real Death Valley. But anyways, I think this is going to be the game of the week. It's going to be a lot more exciting than the Ohio State game. Should be more high scoring. Should be very close. I've seen something like LSU. They got a stacked receiver room, some great players on defense, including Harold Perkins, maybe one of the Heisman contenders, Garrett Nussmeier. They have good pieces everywhere. But obviously we know Kyron Lacey, the unfortunate thing that happened to him earlier this year. I also saw something about, I think Nussmeier got slightly injured in practice, something like that. I don't know. I'm just getting the vibe that LSU, they never win their week one matchups. They're at Clemson. Clemson is a very experienced team, a lot of returning guys. I just feel like Clemson will be more prepared and ready for this game than LSU. They're probably pretty close to, equally talented. But I think the home field advantage, Cade Klubnik's now in his third year as a starting quarterback. Great receiver room that's now on to their next years, no freshmen. Great defenders, a couple top draft picks projected for next year. I think Clemson, they're talented enough, and first game of the year at their home stadium, I see Clemson winning this. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring, not 40 points, but maybe 31 to 23 Clemson or something. Should be a pretty good game, though.
Garrett Nussmeier did not come back this year to lose on week one, Lucas. He did not come back.
Neither did Cade Klubnik.
Well, guess what?
He lost last
year.
He lost last year to Georgia by 30. He's not going to do that again. He's ready this year.
Garrett Nussmeier, Aaron Anderson, this LSU offense is going to be ready to go, and they're going to just run their way through Clemson. Well, they're going to sling the rock. I'm going to take LSU in this one by double digits.
That is just not.
Give me the Tigers.
The Tigers are going to win by double digits, but it's going to be the Clemson Tigers. I don't really know what he's talking about. LSU.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
All right, let's move it over to one of the last games of the night. Utah at UCLA. Nico Iamaleava for UCLA. Devin Dampier for Utah. It's a good little nighttime matchup in this one.
Yeah. So Utah They have Devin Dampier, who's a good quarterback. UCLA, they have Nico. I think he's a bit overrated, but obviously he's a good quarterback as well. Who's the home team?
It's going to be UCLA.
Okay, that won't matter. They have a terrible home field advantage. So I think Utah's going to win this by a good 15 points. I could see it. I see this maybe like 34-19 Utah, something like that. UCLA will keep it close maybe for a bit, but Utah's the better team. UCLA, they're going to go like 6-6. Utah is probably more like 10-2. I think Utah's going to win this pretty easily.
Yeah, Devin Dampier came over from New Mexico. He was a great scrambler there. Had like 900 yards on the ground, 2,000 in the air. He was running all over against Auburn. That's how I really realized this guy comes over with his New Mexico coach. I think Utah can win the Big 12 this year, and they're by pick to win the Big 12, and they're going to roll right through UCLA. No Nico Iamaleava. This team is not good enough for the Utes.
Yeah, I like that take a lot.
Let's move over to the Sunday night game. Notre Dame at Miami. Interesting game here.
Yeah, so this is going to be a great game. We have the Catholics versus convicts rivalry, and it's renewed. We haven't seen it in a while. Carson Beck is now at Miami. He was pretty bad, to say the least, at Georgia the second half of the year last year. Pretty underwhelming. A lot of people thought first overall pick, Heisman winner. Didn't really work out. Got injured in the SEC championship game, and now he's at Miami. We saw what Cam Ward did at Miami last year. I'm not saying he's going to be Cam Ward, but I do think he's going to have a pretty darn good year in this Miami system. Probably top 3 in passing yards. And I really do think that Miami's going to beat Notre Dame in week 1. And this game's at Miami. Obviously, it's probably still going to be 50-50 fans because Miami doesn't have the greatest fans. NFL stadium. Notre Dame has pretty good fans. But it shouldn't really matter. We saw what Miami walked into the swamp and did last year. I'm getting a similar vibe. Marcus Freeman's a great coach. He'll obviously keep this game close, but I see Miami squeaking it out narrowly at the end.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you that. Well, I'm never going to pick Notre Dame, let's be honest. I'm never going to pick them, no matter who they're playing.
Yeah.
They're going to play Navy later in the season. I'll pick Navy there. Carson Beck, I feel like, can really step up into a big role here in Miami. Like, I feel like at Georgia, he was kind of like handcuffed in a way. He wasn't really allowed to do. I think he's more of a talent than people think he is. He didn't just come for Cavender. I think I'll take Miami in this one. I think they'll win by 7, maybe 10. Anywhere in that radius, I like Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game's going to be pretty close in general, but I don't really see why Notre Dame's favorite. I mean, it's at Miami. Notre Dame, they don't have a starting quarterback. They'll have a good running game. Jeremiah Love's probably the best running back in college football. He's insane. And their O-line is great. But they lost a lot of pieces on defense to the draft, and they lost their quarterback. Miami has a way better O-line and D-line than they've had in previous years. Great weapons out on receiver, and they have Carson Beck. So I think Miami's going to win. It should be close, but I just think people maybe are overrating Notre Dame just a tad because they made the national championship last year. They're still going to be a top 15 team, probably only like one loss because of their easy schedule, but it's just I think they're a little overrated.
Yeah, they have cupcake after cupcake after cupcake. That's going to do it for our game previews, but I'm just going to give you 2 guys to watch here on Saturday. We're going to start off with Damon Williams, the Washington quarterback. I'm very high on this guy.
Who are they playing?
They're playing against Colorado State. They're huge favorites, but this is a Colorado State team. Braden Fowler, Nico Losai, he's a good quarterback.
He's back?
Yeah, he's
only
a junior.
Yeah,
he just showed up in that one Colorado game as a freshman. He was really good.
He was good.
He didn't play too well last year, but he's back. But Damon Williams, this Washington team, they brought in the number 1 receiver from Penn State last year. This is a very dangerous Washington team in this Big Ten. They have 3 games that are very favorable before they host Ohio State week 4. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that Jed Fish, head coach, is going to pour all assets into. If he's not going to be in the Heisman finals this year, he'll definitely be a Heisman finalist last year. He's just a guy to watch. And secondly, Hawaii and Mike Alejado travel to Arizona. They're huge underdogs, 17.5 right now. Mike Alejado last week against Stanford when they were 2.5-point favorites, he played huge. Stanford, one of their touchdowns happened to be in this game when a guy missed the fair catch for Hawaii and then there was a strip sack fumble. It should have never happened that they scored a touchdown. So Stanford also milked the clock. Hawaii only had the ball for 20 minutes last game and Alejado threw for 250 yards. The only place for him is up. Hawaii can beat Arizona. They're huge underdogs, and I think they could even beat Arizona. Anything for you to watch?
Yeah, I mean, I think Hawaii is going to be good, just like you said. I don't know about winning against Arizona, but it should be a close game. I think they'll definitely cover. I mean, obviously I'm an ACC guy, and I, like you said earlier, I'm a believer in this Georgia Tech team. I also think Louisville's going to have a pretty good year. I think Louisville and Georgia Tech are two teams that aren't ranked right now that could sneak into the top 15, top 20 by the end of the year, and maybe one of them gets in the college football playoff. I can definitely see that happening. And then I'm going to go over to the SEC real quick. I think Auburn, they'll have a pretty good year. Yeah, and I'm a pretty big believer in Oklahoma. I like John Material a lot.
Jay Knott, they have Jay Knott.
Jay Knott, I like Venables as a coach. I think Oklahoma can maybe be like maybe that Texas A&M like they were last year. Maybe sneak into the conversation early in the SEC, start off the year like 5-0 and be in the mix. Maybe a couple losses, but they'll probably have a big win in there because there's big opportunities everywhere in the SEC. I can see them maybe sneaking into the playoffs. I like Florida a lot with DJ Lagway. And then the Big Ten, it's pretty much just like the top. There's like 5 teams, and then everyone else isn't really that good. I don't think Oregon's going to have as good a year as they did last year. I think they might even miss the playoff, but they're going to down. They're not going to be as good, I think. And then one last thing, I think Michigan is going to live up to the hype of their 14 ranking. I think they're going to be pretty solid. I think they'll end up finishing in the top 20 with Bryce Underwood. I actually think Bryce Underwood's going to be a lot like we had with Dylan Raiola last year. I just think Michigan has a little bit more pieces than Nebraska had, so I think they'll squeak out like a 9-win season, finish in the top 20, and have a solid year. And who knows? They might beat Ohio State again. They have the home game. That would be kind of insane. But I think Ohio State might get it done this year for the first time. Yeah, early prediction.
This is like a wide open Big Ten. There's no definite. Yeah. I think Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, all these ranked teams, Oregon, they're all beatable. The only team I think that's flying under the radar in a way, not really, Penn State. I think they're just really good. There's a reason they're number 2.
They're really good, but I mean they are number 2.
But they also are beatable. Like Minnesota, Washington, those are 2 teams I'm going to throw out that are very live in the Big Ten, especially Washington.
Washington could be good this year. I agree.
With Devon Williams. Well, that's going to do it for the Hoop and Helmets episode.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Navy's going to be very good.
Yeah, we know. We know. Navy's going to make the playoffs.
Navy will be the group of 5 because Boise State's about to lose, so they're probably not.
South Florida.
Which actually, this is for this South Florida win is actually very big for the teams in the American. You would think, week 1 hasn't even happened yet. It's not important. This game, that South Florida win is so big for the American teams, bigger than you could imagine. Because last year, Army 11-1, top 20 in the country. They destroyed Tulane in the conference championship game, but it didn't matter because you had Boise State over there in the Mountain West who was getting taken over them. Now that they don't have to worry about the Mountain West possibly because Boise State lost, it could just be the American champion, which is great for all the American teams knowing they just got to handle business and won't make it.
And that could be South Florida and Byron Brown.
Could be South Florida as well.
Could be. But we'll look forward to that Navy-Notre Dame matchup heading later into the season when Navy's undefeated, right?
Yeah,
heading into that matchup.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, now that's going to do it for the Hoop and Helmets episode. For Brody Jacobson, Lucas DeVries, we're signing out.